Welcome to the Daily Podcast. My name is Michelle Sinclair, divine healer and spiritual teacher, and I'm just going to tell you guys about my meditation last night. So my music had shut off and wouldn't connect again, and so I was like, first of all, I took it as a sign that I wasn't supposed to be listening to music, and so then all these things kind of came to my head because this same thing happened to me when I was at my cabin. Well, not the same, but I was without music for a lot of the time that I was there. But I took this as a sign, and I listened to the wind, which was so nice. But when the music first turned off, I said, "Oh great, no music, I guess." And I said it exactly like that. Right, I'm the only person there. I'm just me. And upon saying that, and realizing like, oh, I should be listening to the wind here, and kind of got myself back into my meditation because I was slightly thrown off because it had shut off. So keep in mind, I said, "Oh great, no music, I guess." Like that was my attitude when I said it. So upon meditating again, I was immediately overtaken by something, and I found myself slumping over with like a bad attitude. So gross, like, "No music, I guess." That was the feeling. And that was the words that came to me. And I'm like, what is this? And I was shown what a bad freaking attitude I had just had. So it needed to be made more extreme to me to show me what it was that I had just done. And I realized that, come here, Nala. You go lay down. And I realized, sorry, my dog entered, and I realized that this was my own reaction to what had happened, but just an over-exaggeration from spirit to show me what I needed to see. And I realized how even a complaint, which didn't seem bad, but it was just kind of sarcastic, right? I didn't have a great attitude, and I was like, oh great, no music, I guess. Like I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't angry. I was just like, ugh, that slight feeling of feeling annoyed. But me saying no music, I guess, was kind of a sarcastic tone. And I realized in that moment how it turns down the vibration of the entire planet, because he who commands the spirit commands the entire universe. And so I realized how completely unacceptable it was, and that we must be pure completely at all times. And I saw how those little slips do not create the heaven that we're creating, and they must be overcome. Then along the same process, I'm in there and I'm sitting, and I realize this, and like, oh, I get it now. I'm not going to do that anymore. And so, when I do my meditation practice, this is probably, an hour and a half at least, around that time typically. And so at some point in this, I'm meditating and I surrendered to death. So there was things that came to me. I had the illumination come into my brain. It lit up, and I felt my body beginning to particle out, become lighter and lighter. And at that moment, I realized, hey, I've been here before. And I just surrendered to it. And I thought, you know what, if I die in this very moment, and it wasn't a bad feeling that I was having at all, but it was a surrender to, if I died right now, and that meant that the message could be spread to more people, and that it could change the world and the planet and help some people out, I would be more than willing for that to happen. Complete surrender. No, I'm cool, dude. Divine, all I want is what's best for you. And so then as I surrendered to that, and I completely just gave up, and my body just was like, limp and loose, I give it all to you. I then was given life again, and it was like life was breathed back into me. So I went from this, I surrendered to death, to this breath being just energized and put back into me. And this is the divine gift. And so we have choices. We can die every day to the old us, and we can live again for the new and improved version. Then, as I'm sitting there, because I'm still in the silence, and there was quite a storm going on last night, I heard the coyotes outside. And I thought, oh no. And I heard them say something to me that was something about what was coming. And it concerned me, and I'm not going to repeat it, I'm not going to say, because I know my words are powerful and I don't want to create this, but I realized how I felt that immediate dark shift come when I thought that dark thought from those coyotes and what they were saying. But then I had the thought of, no, I'm holding the light. I cannot allow myself to indulge in those thoughts of what is to come, whether it is perceivably true or not. I cannot allow myself to indulge in that, because if you were to think about what happens when you immediately have a downshift in your thinking, it immediately takes away the energy and the life from you, and this is not the way. And now whatever is saying to you that it's exhausting to do it perfectly, to be perfect, to take those little tiny things and work on them and fix them, whoever is saying this has not felt the energy that comes from being in the perfection. There's nothing that is better than it. To know your thoughts so deeply that you correct them with awareness, the lightness of pure acceptance of the all and the everything. Now, when you put your faith in anything other than the divine, you suffer, plain and simple. So any beliefs that counteract the perfect divine will is not the truth and deserves no place in the mind. It means the faith has been put in it, that other thing, rather than the divine, and it's therefore not going to bring any of the goodness that it should if it was just left alone. So when we have these thoughts that pop up into our mind that are lower than the divine frequency, when you continue to allow yourself to think of them, this is what I'm saying, is that you are putting your faith in those things. You are putting your life force energy into them. You are putting your belief in them. And faith is belief, and belief is faith. It's the same thing. And so when you put your belief in them, and you're giving them your time and your focus and your energy, they are going to create something other than the goodness. This is how we talk about the trees and how they do not complain about their lot in life. And because they do not complain, the perfect work is done within them at all times. Did you know at the end of a season when a tree begins to lose its leaves, they don't just fall off. The tree actually kicks the leaves off. It stops sending what it needs to send to these leaves. It cuts them off for its own preservation. These trees do not complain when the snow comes and the leaves are gone. They sit and they go with the divine flow, and they trust at all times without complaint that the work will be done within them perfectly. And because they don't complain, they don't undo the perfect works, but we do. We undo the perfect work through what we allow our mind to indulge in. When you believe in disease, when you put your faith in the disease, meaning you believe in it, that's putting your faith in it, then you will be heir to it because you believe, you've put your faith in it. Jesus didn't believe in disease. He saw that people were suffering with it, but he knew that it was disease of the mind, and he knew that they did not need to heal their bodies, they needed to heal their beliefs. And so he would teach, and he would help them to heal their beliefs, and then he would lay hands on them, and he would have the illumination come through him from the Father, and they would be healed according to their faith. And after he healed them, he would say, no, go and sin no more, meaning don't keep doing the thing that got you sick in the first place. Don't keep doing it. And what it is every time is some type of lowly thinking. Maybe it's frustration, maybe it's anger, maybe it's resentment, maybe it's jealousy, spite. There's so many different things that it could be. Maybe it's just not feeling good about yourself. Maybe it's allow other people to walk on you. Maybe it's feeling used. Maybe it's a fear of betrayal. Any of these things that I've mentioned, and there are so many more, are not the divine will. And when we believe in them, we give them our life force energy, we give them our actual energy, we give them our faith because we are believing in them rather than the perfect love of the divine. And when we do this, then harm can come to us. And we don't want that. No. Sometimes people will come to me purely because they need a faith booster. Maybe because they've been believing in this disease more than they've been believing in the love of the divine. Not even necessarily having some type of other emotion or other backstory attached to it, but purely for the purpose of healing. And what a wonderful thing that is when someone can come and they can leave not only healed, but knowing the divine on a level that they didn't before. Because up until that point, there would have been some doubt that was residing within them. They know, okay, the divine can heal me. I know it. I believe that. But why aren't they witness to it? I will tell you why. It is because there is a seed of doubt. Now, this does not mean that they're a bad person. This does not mean that they don't love the divine. It means that there is something within them that is causing doubt. Maybe the divine does this for other people, but me, no, I must not be worthy of it. There must be some reason here why this can't happen to me. And people will believe in that rather than the love, because there's nothing that the love cannot do. So I know we started talking about perfection and being perfect. And people say, oh, you can't be perfect. You really can. This is something that we believe that we cannot. And as long as we believe that we cannot, then we cannot create this heaven on earth. But it's baby steps that get you there. When you start doing something, are you perfect at it? Absolutely not. Let's say that you want to be the best yogi in the world. How many years is it going to take you to be able to perfect that and become the best yogi in the world? It might take you decades, but you'll get there if that's what you want. And so this process of perfection, of realizing, oh, man, I was just complaining about that. And it doesn't even have to be audible. It could be in your head. Well, you can wipe that clean. You can get rid of that. Why? Because everything works out. Everything is working for the divine plan. So my music's shutting off yesterday. It shut off. I then am hearing the wind crazy outside. There's a crazy storm going on. I think, oh, well, better go check on those lawn chairs in the backyard, make sure they haven't blown away. I learned many things from listening to the wind, that when I was listening to the music, which wasn't satisfying me anyways, I kept changing the song and thinking, I want songs without music. Even though it wasn't English, I was like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. And I was using the same meditation playlist that I have been using for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I love it, but it just was hitting me different. I was like, oh, I gotta get this song off here. I don't want to listen to this right now. And then pretty soon, I couldn't listen to any of the songs. And when I think of this, it was what I wanted in the first place, right? I was not loving all the songs that I was hearing. And so I wanted it off anyways. And so then all of a sudden it wouldn't work. It's not even hooking up to my Bluetooth anymore. And I'm like, turn it off, turn it on, not working. Well, this was what I wanted. And I was gifted it, through my, I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to, through my complaining, right? Well, you don't want that. So then I didn't get it. And then when it shut off, I threw out that little sarcastic, I guess I don't get the music anymore. That kind of complaint, when it was working for my benefit. This was a gift from the divine. And how beautiful is that, to be able to sit there and meditate on the sound of the wind and hearing it outside. What a wonderful thing. So much better. It's the natural. It's the music of the earth. And what a beautiful thing. But because in this moment, that moment that I was there, I didn't recognize it as, oh, of course, this is a gift from the divine, because everything is. I threw my bad attitude in there. And so then I was shown really, truly, how disgusting that attitude was. And I thought, I'm not doing that again. Okay, I'm never going to complain about the music not working again. And typically I catch myself. Anytime I hear something, it's like, no, this is because this is what's best. Well, obviously this is what's best, and I believe it. Because it always works out for the best. But when we catch ourselves in those little moments, then we now have time and the opportunity to master them and to realize, oh, I could have done this better. I'm going to do that better next time. Oh, I could have done that better. I'm going to do that better next time. I didn't even realize that me saying, oh, now I guess the music's not going to work was a complaint. But now I see, of course, that was a complaint. And so every day, as we're working towards mastery, which this is the ultimate goal, is to master it so that we can be in divine alignment all the time. All the time. Because why would we not want to be? You know how life-giving and energizing it is to be in that alignment, and it is not exhausting. And if you believe that, it's because you haven't experienced it. Keep going. Keep going forward. You are going to get there. Enlightenment comes when you have cleansed everything from your mind that is not in divine alignment. And I just gave you a tiny little example of it there. But when you go in, we have a storehouse of memories in our subconscious mind, and they dictate, they run your life constantly, every day, all day long. They run your life. And we don't even know it. Most of the time, I'll be working with a client and say, okay, you know, certain things might come up, you know, is there anything that's off limits for you? And if they're like, oh, well, you know, I haven't really dealt with this thing, I don't really want to talk about it, but I don't think it's much of an issue for me. Okay, 100% is definitely the issue for you. If there's something that you want to avoid or something you're like, oh, it doesn't come up much, but once in a while it'll pop up into my head. That's the thing. That's the thing. One of the things, anyways, that's running and dictating your life and dictating the way that you feel, and you don't even know it, because this is subconscious garbage. It's subconscious trash that needs to be taken out. And how you take it out is by healing it. And how you heal it is by having a different perspective. So when I was doing that circle when I was in Sedona, which I can't wait for you guys to join me there. When I was doing that circle and the angel with all the eyes came in, you know, the one that's covered head to toe in all the eyes, and it's got wings coming out the side, and even those are covered in eyes. I've seen this before, and I remember just thinking, what a creepy, weird thing. What even is that? And thinking, that is not like any of the angels I've ever seen. That doesn't even look good. Like, it looks like it must be some kind of weird, creepy, new agey weirdo thing, you know. And I was judging it. This is years ago when I seen it. Well, that thing appeared in the circle that we were doing. It shows up, and I'm like, dude, the thing with the eyes is here. I'm like, what is this about? But I wasn't judging it when it showed up. I'm just like, I want to know what's up here. I guess I'm going to be getting some answers. And then I was shown that angel with all the eyes. Which eye do you need to look through? What perspective do you need to get about this? Which one is going to be the most healing for you? Which one is going to be able to put you in divine alignment? That's what that angel does, is it gives you new eyes to see things differently. Sometimes we will take something about childhood and we'll make it into this resentful thing. Like the example is that boy who his parents were, you know, they couldn't afford to get him a whole bunch of things, and so they got him a couple encyclopedia books. Not a whole set, just a couple. I think maybe even just one. And he was pissed about this for years, that's what his parents got him when he was a little kid. Pissed about it. Obviously, you know, they couldn't afford more and all the things associated with it, and he was just irate, mad at his parents forever and ever and ever for such a long time. When he then came to realize that he got the A, so there was art that was in there, and he would sit there and he would look at those artists' renderings and spent so much time looking at them, and he grew up to be a wonderful artist. And this was the catalyst that pushed him in that direction. And so rather than seeing it as something, oh, what this terrible thing has happened, he could have spent the next 20 years of his life thinking, what a wonderful thing has happened. But instead, he depleted his energy. And he went around resentful and thinking that life wasn't fair and that things weren't good, when really the whole entire time it had been working for him. But it was all perspective. So I guarantee you, whatever that thing is that is so upsetting to you, maybe there's several things, maybe there's one, it is the thing. It is the thing that pushes you to the healing. It is the thing that pushes you to where you need to be. It is the thing that pushes you and you think, oh, how is that even possible? I'm telling you it's possible, because I've never worked with a client who went back and had some horrible, terrible thing, but had it not be the catalyst that changed things in their life. And they just needed to look at it from a different perspective to cherish it and to honor it. And to, rather than look at it as, oh, this terrible thing, this traumatic thing, wow, what a miraculous blessing that was, because it led to this, or to this, or to this, or to this, or whatever it happened to be. Now, I know if you're going through something right now and it's difficult and it's hard, it's impossible. It's basically impossible to see on the other side of it, of, why could this possibly be happening? But when you can be thankful for it right now and just know, okay, I know this is obviously part of the divine will. Maybe it's showing you something. Maybe it's showing you, hey, this is karma that's returned back. Maybe not. Maybe it's showing you, hey, you're stronger than you think. Maybe it's showing you, hey, you need to be doing this differently. Maybe it's showing you, hey, you need to stop doing that thing. Or you need to start doing that thing. Maybe it's showing you something. I don't know what it is. But when you can be thankful for it in the right now, when you can be thankful for it here today, you're going to save yourself so much time and so much grief, because you are then putting your faith in the divine will and the divine plan, and saying, thank you, divine. I don't know exactly what the plan was around that thing that happened, but I trust that it was for the best, and so I'm going to thank you for it. And you know what happens when you do that? Pretty soon that awful thing doesn't feel awful anymore. Pretty soon you feel completely different. You actually feel physically lighter, because you've become lighter, because you're not carrying that heaviness in your energy system anymore. And then when you go forward, your complete attitude has changed. Because when you're not reminiscing about that old harmful, hurtful thing that happened that's keeping you down or keeping you low, and you're instead being thankful for it, it completely shifts your whole energy frequency. And then you go forward, and the next day feels even better, and the next day feels even better, and you just keep feeling better and better, trusting that it's the divine plan. Anyways, this is what I got for you guys here today. Thank you guys for all tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one. Everyone take care.